everybody, welcome to Kettlebell Fundamentals Level 1. In this level, we are going to learn and practice everything that we're going to need to know prior to picking up a kettlebell. Meaning, we're going to learn how to move, how to breathe, how to stabilize our core, and we're going to learn also how to assess these things so that when we progress to more and more challenging exercises, we're not playing a game of Russian roulette and just hoping that all of these things are where they need to be or up to a certain standard and that we're not going to get injured. Okay, we're going to assess certain things. If you pass the assessments, guess what? You can just move straight to the next assessment, to the next one, and go through this curriculum very, very quickly. If you fail an assessment, or if you're kind of a 50-50, which is going to happen with some of these assessments, then you simply go to the exercises related to that assessment. You perform that for a period of time, and of course you can go to the next assessment and perform those exercises if need be, and so on and so forth. Which is to say that some people are going to progress through this curriculum very, very quickly. Some people are going to progress through it much more slowly. There could be wide ranges between those two people. It just depends upon your starting point. But either way, what we are doing with this curriculum is we are giving ourselves a certain level, a relatively high level, I would say, of assurance that by the time we do get to extrinsically loaded exercises with a kettlebell or other weights that we might want to be lifting, that we're not, like I said, playing a game of Russian roulette with our bodies and just hoping that our core is stable and hoping that all of the joints are stable and the prime movers are up to functioning in this manner, and also that our technique is correct, which of course with kettlebells, technique is extremely important. It's actually one of the biggest, I would say, barriers to entry for kettlebell training, and one of the main reasons more people don't do it is because you do have to develop this as a skill and you really have to practice it over time. When it comes to the exercises in this level and moving all the way up, you can, I prefer it if you kind of get rid of the mentality of 3 sets of 10, you know, doing a certain exercise on Tuesday and Friday or something like that. Our primary goal here is not generally hypertrophy. It's actually developing the nervous system to utilize what's already there. There is obviously some hypertrophy that takes place, but because of the way we program things, we're much more interested in high frequency with a sort of a medium duration and sort of a medium intensity, meaning the amount of weight we're lifting, so that we can what we call grease the groove, where we're practicing the movement and training the nervous system. So that relates to the way that we're going to program these exercises. If you take these assessments and you find out, oh, I need to do these particular exercises, don't worry about programming so much. Just try to do these things every day, a little bit. Okay, most of the exercises in this level are exercises that would be extremely difficult to overtrain. Okay, unless you were really completely ignoring your body. But the nature of these exercises, like I said, they'd be very difficult to overtrain. Just try to do a 15 to 20 minute session, generally speaking, and then take a break, and you can do maybe 2 sessions a day of some things, maybe even up to 3 of certain exercises. And you can do that with a high degree of frequency because we're never getting to a high level of intensity. As you go through these assessments, understand that a lot of times the assessment will turn into the exercise. Okay, so when you don't pass an assessment with flying colors, you're like, maybe I kind of did okay, but not great, or it was a flat out fail, and you start doing the exercise related to that assessment, you're going to find that the assessment, we're going to carry that over into the exercise. So the assessment a lot of times becomes the exercise, maybe with slight variation, but then it's also true that the exercise is always being assessed, no matter what level of training you find yourself on. After 18 years of training with kettlebells, I'm still assessing. If I have a mirror, visually a lot of the time, but through proprioception and feel, I'm assessing every inch of range of motion that I perform with the kettlebell. So that process of assess and exercise kind of being a gray area, that will never stop, okay? Think of what we're doing here as building skill on top of skill on top of skill, kind of like a martial art. This is not weightlifting like you see bodybuilders perform, where the movement itself is not the challenge, right? It's not difficult to do this. Even if you think about like a bench press, you could put a lot of weight on there and make it difficult, but the actual movement to perform a bench press is not highly technical. You do want to learn how, some basic parameters, but it's not highly technical. This type of training is very, very different because the shift, by the way, happens when we say, I'm not so much worried about making my muscles as big as possible. I'm more into the performance training and getting my body more able to perform at the things that I love to do in my life as a weekend warrior, or the things that are demanded of me by my family or my job, and all of those things combined. I want to get better at doing those things so that at the end of the week, I'm not, beat up, or I don't have all of these idiopathic injuries that keep reoccurring and all of these things. So when you make the shift to say, okay, no longer is my primary purpose muscle building, now it's more performance, that's when we start saying, okay, now we're playing a game of building skill on top of skill on top of skill. Take your time, embrace the journey, don't rush it. It's so enjoyable, even at this level of learning the most basic things. We haven't even picked up a kettlebell yet. It can be so enjoyable if you just go into the process and don't worry about what's out there, okay? Just take the step in front of you and just kind of explore it, enjoy it, and move at your own pace based upon your level of athleticism and competency coming into these things. We are going to learn in this course all of the things that you need to know before picking up a kettlebell, as far as especially movement is concerned, and making sure that we have a base level of strength that we're going to need to start extrinsically loading our body. We're also going to touch on some things that are not related to movement that you're also going to need to know before you pick up a kettlebell. Okay, so let us begin without further delay. I will see you in our first assessment.